From the heart of Big Ten country, Los Angeles, California, Ryan Abraham and David Woods present the Podcast of Champions.
Welcome, everyone, back to the Podcast of Champions. We don't have a guest today. I'm David Woods from Bruin Report Online, the UCLA site on the 24/7 Sports Network.
And I'm Ryan Abraham from USCFootball.com, the USC site on the 24/7 Sports Network. And together we make the Podcast of Champions, talking all things Big Ten football. You got a little taste last weekend, week 0. Georgia Tech, Florida State in Dublin, Ireland. I was in Montana watching some of that and then watching on the plane a little bit. Or as we're getting on the plane. You had SMU played. You had Nevada. They almost lost that one. There was a Hawaii game where UCLA goes to play Hawaii pretty quickly here. We got some college football, which was great. But we got to talk Big Ten football. And
Which we didn't get any of.
We got none of that week 0. But you got a little taste of college football.
Do you know I had to think about it for a second because how many teams are in this league again?
18
freaking
teams.
Off the top of your head, just do this right now as an exercise at home. Can you name 14 of them?
Just off the top of your head.
Just off the top of your head.
There are 18 teams. So we have a big show today. Unfortunately, we finished our season previews except for one. The Wisconsin guy was supposed to come on last week. He bailed, and then he has not responded to Dave or I. So I don't know what's going on. We don't give you a Wisconsin preview. We really tried. He hadn't got back to us.
Just tweet at Evan. Until he responds.
Don't do that. We don't want to do that.
No?
You could do that if you want to. That's
do it.
fine.
Please do it.
Just tell Evan Flood, hey, dude, you're too good to come on the Podcast of Champions. Everybody else came on.
Yeah.
You didn't come on. It's Wisconsin. So what we're going to do today
what are we going to do today,
We're
Ryan?
going to give you all of our season predictions. So what will the record be?
Okay, so we're going to do the thing that we were supposed to do last week, but you didn't get done over the last weekend. Got it? Okay.
Do that.
Then what are we doing?
Then we're going to pick every single game.
But certainly it's not too many, right? How many are there?
There are 18.
Oh, okay, so we got to provide our season predictions for 18 different teams, and then we have to preview 18 different games.
Yeah, it's not,
and why do we have to do both? Because you didn't do your job last week? Is that right?
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, we're going to pick them against the spread. We always do this. I invariably am leading in mid-November, and then I go on a streak where I pick incorrectly in 28 out of the final 30 games of the season.
Last year, you had a pretty commanding lead on me, and I came back and won. It was awesome. But we're going to put some little juice on it this year. We're going to bet a dinner at the Rex Steakhouse over in Redondo Beach. So that'd be nice. So we'll do that. So Dave usually, especially and I don't know, 18 might be too much. Like he always wins the out of conference games, and then I beat him in the conference games. Is typically how this goes. So we'll do that, and it should be a lot of fun. We also have our survival pool that's back, so that's great. Matthew, Stanford grad, he's here doing this stuff. We got to pick a winner and a loser every week because there's 18 teams. There's not that many weeks in the season, so to advance, you got to do this every week. There's a Google form that we're going to put into the show notes, and we'll put on Twitter and all that. I already tweeted it out already if you're not following us. So do that, and then you pick a winner and a loser. Use the same email every week because he can't, he's tracking this basically by hand and spreadsheets and stuff in the Google forms. And you put the same name so he knows who you are. You can't miss a week. This is something you have to do each and every week. The picks have to be in by 9 a.m. on Saturday. This week there's games on Thursday, so try to get them in quickly, and we'll do all that. So we'll let you guys know what's going on there. If you have questions or comments or whatever for us, big10cast@gmail.com. So we got some emails to get through today, a little bit later on. You can also call or text us. We got a voicemail to get to 424-532.
You said 22.
532-0678 is the voicemail number. And if
Are you a little girl doing ballet?
No. I watched part of Abigail on the plane back from Montana.
What's Abigail?
It's like they think they're criminals are kidnapping like a 12-year-old like ballerina, but she's like a vampire kind of thing.
Oh. Is it Abigail or is it Annabelle?
I think it's Abigail.
Abigail.
Yeah. But I missed the last 20 minutes because like the Wi-Fi on the plane was shitty. and it just kept stopping. I had to kind of restart it over and over. So I missed the last 20 minutes. I was pissed, so I just read it about it. I was like, whatever. And a whole bunch of
That's a great way to enjoy movies.
A whole bunch of stuff happens in the last 20 minutes too. I'm like, wow, that's a very different movie than what I saw. But anyway, whatever. A big B1G podcast on Twitter. If you want to tweet us there, I did tweet out the info for the survival pool there. We don't really list any. Oh, Matthew had some funny prizes. I think we could do actual prizes. Like we could give away, free subscription to 247 Sports, whatever team you like. Probably have to check with the publisher of that team. But I'll give you one to mine or Dave. You can have USC or UCLA if they won't do it. Like if you're a Michigan guy and Sam won't give you a subscription, we'll try to talk him into it. But otherwise, we'll give you a free 247 Sports subscription or extend yours through our sites. So we can do that. So let's say like 3 free months if you win this.
Yeah, that sounds tremendous.
And I'll work on a Trader Joe's gift card too. I think.
If you win, it's the best time of year to get 3 months because it's the middle of off season, winter and spring. Beautiful time.
It's great.
We love it.
There's a lot of activity and
yes.
rosters and stuff going on with that. So we'll do all that. Appreciate that. If you have the Apple Podcasting app or Spotify, either one of those, you can rate the show 5 stars. And if you have Apple, you can give us a review. I don't know if we have any new ones, Dave.
We do not.
Okay.
People have failed. I think it's a response to really Evan not showing up today. I think that's probably why.
That's why
people
they don't
have
have
not given. They were waiting for completion, and they didn't achieve completion, and now they are left wanting more.
Yeah. You know what you want more of, though? It's college football.
That's right, baby.
And we got it. You want to have action on these games. We're back. It's the 10th year anniversary of MyBookie. They've been awesome to us. We have a new promo code. We said we're not going to get rid of Pac-12. There's no Pac-12, really. POC is the new promo code. So go over to MyBookie. Make sure you go check out the site. You can bet on just about anything. There's so many games in college football. You want to get a little action. MyBookie. You can bet anything, anywhere, anytime at MyBookie. Well, you got 18 games this weekend that you can bet on. And if you use our promo code POC, you can get up to $1,000 bonus for your first deposit. So make sure you go check that out. So many things, so many games going on. The beginning of college football is the best time to get in on this. So we're happy to be working with MyBookie again. Been great to us over the years. And like I said, it's the 10-year anniversary for MyBookie. So make sure you go check it out. So many games to get to. We're going to do all of our picks against the spread. So I like to put my picks in there on MyBookie too and put a little juice on it. Even though Dave and I have juice on the whole overall season, I like each and every week having some juice too. So use POC as the promo code, and you can get up to $1,000 bonus on your first deposit to MyBookie. So go check it out.
Beautiful read, top tier, no notes.
Thanks. Well, what do you want to do first? Let's talk about the survival pool. It is a little more complicated.
Yep.
Because we have 18 teams. So there's a lot. So,
it's really very simple. You just have to pick one more thing each week,
yes.
Everyone out there. And you have to keep track of one more thing each week, which is not picking the same team again for the same thing.
Yeah, you can't pick like Indiana to lose every week. You can only pick Indiana to lose once.
Right, which is it's going to be hard for all of us, but we're going to manage it. All you need to do is that. You just need to pick a winner and a loser. Matthew does the hard part.
Yes.
He does all the difficult
He compiles
things.
it all.
You just need to pick 2 games.
He went to
That's
Stanford.
It doesn't even need to be 2 games. It can be the same game. You can pick UCLA to win and Indiana to lose or whatever it is. Doesn't really matter. You can do it.
Yeah.
We believe in you.
So I think Matthew took Washington to win. He told us this, and USC to lose. I picked Purdue as my winner this week 1, and I took USC to lose as well. We're going to get into the point spreads. There is only one Big Ten team that's an underdog, and it's USC. So it's probably going to be a popular pick to pick USC as the loser. If it so happens, especially in these early weeks, that no Big Ten teams lose, then everyone will roll over. So we're not all out. So Matthew said, so say everyone picks USC because they're the only underdog. I thought about picking somebody else just because so many people are probably going to pick USC. But if all the Big Ten teams win, so it doesn't matter who you pick because everybody won, we all would advance anyway. Or if everyone picks teams that won, then you move on. So you can do strategy like, hey, we want to pick the team that's a big underdog, or like pick someone that not a lot of people are picking to lose, but it's a closer spread, and maybe that team loses, and you like, we could eliminate 90% of everybody in week 1. Who knows with this format? So we'll have to kind of see.
I think I took Illinois as my winner.
You think?
I think. I can't remember. It was yesterday. And I took USC as my loser.
Okay. So I'll put those down in our chart. So go, make sure you check it out on our Twitter and see it out there. We could put it. I don't know if we can put.
So you want to be semi-strategic. I don't like to look ahead. I'm one game at a time. That's just my motto. But you'd like to plan your picks a little bit, because this can get a little bit. Once you get to mid-season, it's clear that only 2 people really have a chance because they still have X team available. So you want to be strategic if you haven't done this before.
Yeah. So I just put a link in the chat. So we are live on our YouTube channel right now. Look at this. I haven't looked at the chat yet. We got Amy. Hello, POC. Just want to pop on and say hi. I miss you guys. Amy, our Utah fan. It's tough, It's tough. She was our normal listener, but Utah's not around anymore. So
no, Utah died. Sad.
Yeah.
Sad to say.
Cheeky Bruin says, holy cow, I'm so freaking excited for football. Alex says, I like no guest. You can be your normal, unprofessional selves. That's
True.
a very good point. I love that. So, let's see. Cheeky Bruin, Dave, you got any Irish history facts? Dying from some history tidbits.
I got one. So the Vikings famously colonized and warred and rampaged all throughout the British Isles, right? And,
Sure.
Most in Northern Europe. But
Yeah.
let's focus on the British Isles for a second, because in Britain, they definitely dictated their culture to the British in a lot of ways, dictated it to Scottish, dictated it to a lot of Northern Europe, all this kind of stuff. The Irish assimilated those motherfuckers. They brought them in, and they took their culture, took the best parts of it all, but never did that become this Viking enclave. It was more of an Irish thing. But most of the cities in Ireland are actually thanks to the Vikings, including Dublin and a bunch of the southern Irish towns.
Oh.
There you
go. We had a funny one. Mark says, Alex Grinch put the kibosh on the Wisconsin preview.
He may have. I don't know if a safeties coach has that much power. Or co-DC. What is he now?
I think he's safeties co-DC.
Damn.
West Texas Mike. Ryan is picking against USC. He must have really not liked what he saw in that blacked out scrimmage. No, this is a survivor pool. They're the only underdog of 18 teams. It makes the most sense to pick.
Let me help you. Ryan told me off the record he thinks this USC team goes 3-9.
No, Dave. Okay, so Dave is in his total mode of, wait, how can USC even win a game this year? That kind of thing. So, before they go on some run and it pisses him off or whatever, he's in I don't think they can make a bowl game kind of mode. And I'm like,
I'm not there.
I think they go 9-3.
No, they're 6-6, 7-5. I think they make the LA Bowl.
I'm picking them to go 9-3, and so Dave is going to freak out.
This is a solid LA Bowl team. I think
this is the overly optimistic Dave.
Not kidding, and we'll get to it a little bit when we talk about USC, but might be the least talented USC roster I can remember. It's not a very talented roster. There's a lot of deficits, and not very deep. That offensive line, man.
They're not deep on the offensive line. I think that's.
They're
fair.
starting a Wyoming transfer at 7 career starts at nose tackle. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
well,
we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Flummoxed.
Sorry, I'm looking at things.
Yeah, stymied.
Dave, I'm looking at the. Dave in the chat says, if I pick Oregon this week, and no one loses, can I pick Oregon again next week? No, the winners is no. If you pick Oregon to lose, and you want to pick them again, I guess you can. It's the loser you could pick again. The winner, if everybody wins, everybody wins. You don't get to pick that team again. But if you pick the loser, whoever you pick to lose, if everybody wins, you can, pick again. I think Matthew might have addressed that, but I think you can pick them again.
We'll have Matthew write an explainer if we're unclear
to do that. All right. That's fun.
It's actually in the top of the document. Just read the thing that we're going to post that you can fill out. Okay?
Read the doc.
Yeah.
Dave did not do that, so you can kind of.
Yeah, but I trust Matthew to have done it properly. I know my assignment. I know what I have to do. I have to pick a winner and a loser each week.
Do you know we also have a tiebreaker? So before we get into like our season previews, the tiebreaker is out. So remember we were talking about this a little bit. Like you don't have divisions anymore. You have to go in and so head to head is the normal easiest tiebreaker. But with 18 teams, there's teams that just don't play each other. So the Big Ten released their tiebreaker rules, and a little bit different than the SEC. I think a little bit different than the Big Ten, Big 12. But head-to-head results during the regular season is number one tiebreaker. The problem is you might not have a lot of those. So number 2 is record against all common conference opponents. 3 is the record against mutual conference opponents with best record. A little confusing there. 4 is the best Big Ten winning percentage of conference opponents. So the teams you play, what's their winning percentage? And then 5, the highest ranked by Sports Source Analytics after the regular season, which is a tool that the College Football Playoff Committee uses. So they went with like an analytics approach. I think SEC went with margin of victory, but then you're rewarding teams that play the worst teams in the conference and all that kind of stuff. So there is an analytics portion of this, and then after that's just a random draw.
Great.
Fun?
Yes.
So that's if you get a bunch of like 7-2 teams, how you're going to, what's going on, that's how you're going to do it. So little newsy stuff there.
Great.
You love that thing.
I love it when you read stuff.
When we're newsy things, you love that. Like when I'm actually giving
I love it when you read something that people would have to take notes on to remember even like 10 minutes from now.
Yeah. No, you just understand what it is. Basically, you need to know there's analytics involved in the tie-breaking process.
Yeah, once you get down past like the 5th or 6th tiebreaker.
Which could definitely happen.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we got to do our preview for the season, what we think. Do you want to do this by like alphabetical order with the teams and then pick records?
Yeah, I mean, choose your fighter. I really don't care. I've got it all. I don't have it alphabetized. I've got it in like top to bottom. I mean, we can start.
Or you want to pick our top like?
Well, because we won't have the same one. So why don't we just start alphabetical? But I think that starts with I. What the hell is wrong with this league that the first school starts with an I?
And I'm going to make a rule going forward. If the Big Ten expands, no more teams that begin with M, like tough.
Okay, no more M's and no more I's. Okay,
yeah.
And in fact, 5 years you got to change your name. Okay, there can't be this many M's. There cannot be this many I's. We need you to change your names. Name of the state. I don't care, but something needs to change.
I like that a lot. This is relegation. You can stay in the league, but you don't get to keep your name.
Correct.
So there's too many M logos, and when I did like. This one's a little different. If you guys are watching, like this is like a eye chart, like for all the teams there. At least they have the helmets on them. When you just look at the logo itself, it's like, is that the Maryland one, or is that the Michigan one, or is that the Minnesota? Like, too many. So we got to fix all that stuff. So let's go in order. And the Illinois is the first team up.
All right. So Illinois, I have as being pretty bad this year. I have Illinois going 4-8 with a 2-7 record in conference. The 2 being games against Purdue and Michigan State.
Okay, I'm very close. I have 5-7 and 3-6 in conference. I also have them beating Minnesota.
Yeah, I have them finishing 17th in the league.
Illinois I have tied for 10th. So there's a big.
A big delta, if you will.
When I did this once, only conference games, and I think I did this last year in the Pac-12. Just too many, like, there's too big of a range. There's a bunch of like 9-0 or 8-1, and then there was like the 0-9 kind of teams. So I had to like spread it out a little bit more, but I'm not big on the middle class right now. There's like you're like upper half or lower half.
Yep.
They're definitely in the lower half, but I don't have them as the bottom.
Yep. Indiana, I have being surprisingly good this year. I have Indiana finishing 7-5 and a bowl team, going 4-5 in conference, taking advantage of a somewhat soft non-conference schedule to go 3-0. I have their conference wins as Purdue, Nebraska, Maryland, and Washington.
Okay. I'm a little more optimistic just because Kirk Cignetti is like.
You're even more optimistic than 7-5?
8-4, baby.
Wow. Oh, I'm not writing these down. I should write them down.
You should write yours down.
No, I'm not writing yours down. Do you want me to write yours down?
If you want, I have them written on my sheet, but
Okay, you had 5-7, and you had
3-6.
3. And what'd you have for
8-4, 5-4. So
Got it.
I mean, they play Nebraska, Michigan, Ohio State. I have them losing those games. I have them losing at UCLA to start the season, but then they go on a little bit of a tear.
Wow.
So yeah,
it's so funny because both of us have Indiana being good, and I would say anybody outside of us who would be looking at any complexion of a season that would involve Indiana being good would have them beating UCLA at the Rose Bowl.
It could, yeah. But I mean, the non-conference, it's like FIU, Charlotte, but I have them, beating Maryland at Northwestern.
Yeah.
Washington, I don't think it'd be that good. They would get them home. Michigan State, I don't think it's going to be very good, but it's just tough to beat like Michigan, Ohio State, Nebraska. But yeah. All right. Iowa.
All right. Iowa, I have being solid record-wise. I don't think they're going to be great, but I have their record as 8-4, 5-4 in conference. I have the 4 losses as Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ohio State, and UCLA.
I'll try to put some pictures while we're going on. For Iowa, I'm a little more optimistic here too, so I'm going to be pessimistic on some teams later on. 9-3 for Iowa. There's some people think it would be better. 6-3 in conference. I have them losing to Nebraska I have them losing to UCLA too at UCLA. Another UCLA win I'm predicting here, but they're going to lose at Ohio State. Their schedule's not tough. Illinois State, Iowa State. That would be. I mean, Iowa State could be tough, and then Troy. But their road games like at Minnesota, I think they can win. At Michigan State, I think they can win. Wisconsin at home, but I think Nebraska is going to be better. So I got them going 9-3, 6-3. I can see them doing a little better though, because the schedule's not that tough.
Yep.
How about Maryland? Let's get to them. So we have I's and M's.
All right.
It's half of the conference is I's and M's.
Maryland, I have in a large collection of teams going 6-6 this year. I think they're going to take a step back from where they were last year. I have them going 3-6 in conference, but sweeping the non-conference. The wins in conference I have against Northwestern, Michigan State, and Rutgers.
Yeah, I think I have the same. Michigan State, Northwestern, and Rutgers, 3-6, 6-6. So I have them the same as you. I do have Maryland. So we didn't go. I have them tied for 10th in the Illinois bracket for me. Indiana I had tied for 8th. And Iowa I have at number 7 alone.
Yeah, Indiana I have at 12th. Iowa I have at 8th. And what did we just do? Maryland?
Yeah.
They're kind of in a collection around 14th.
Okay. You got a lot in there. All right, Michigan.
Interesting
one.
Michigan, I have going 9-3. I did these all in July, though, well before recent events, controversies, so on and so forth. I've got them going 9-3, 2-1 in the non-conference, and 7-2 in conference. I have the 2 losses to Ohio State and Oregon, and then Texas in the non-con.
Yeah, same. I have the exact same thing as you. So, yeah, 9-3. I have them finishing tied for 4th.
Same.
Okay. Michigan State.
Michigan State, I have at 5-7, just narrowly missing a bowl game. I have them at 2-1 in non-conference, and I have them as 3-6 in conference. The wins in conference play would be against Purdue, Indiana, and Rutgers.
Interesting. Okay. I think I'm in almost the same boat. I have Michigan State 4-8, 1-8 in conference.
Damn.
Only beating Purdue. So wait, you had them. What'd you have them? 3. Did you have 3 wins?
I had one loss in non-conference to, I'm assuming it was Boston College. I didn't mark down who I was picking.
Okay.
In those games.
Yeah. No, I have them sweeping the non-con, going 4-8, but 1-8 in conference, and I have them finishing 17th alone because they're 1-8. I'm not putting a lot into Jonathan Smith in year 1.
Yep.
We'll see. I'll put him up there on the screen. We'll see. He could prove us wrong, but I think they're just, yeah, that was a weird situation. I think this might take a little while to get jump started there.
Totes.
How about Minnesota?
Minnesota, I have bouncing back from last year with PJ Fleck. I have them going 7-5, which is a slight improvement from where they were last year. 3-0 in the non-conference, 4-5 in conference with the wins against Iowa, Illinois, Maryland, and USC.
Wow.
I don't know how I did that, but I did it, and I loved it.
There you go. I'm taking, I think Minnesota's going to take a step back with PJ Fleck, with the row in your boat. I'm not sure. Even though Burns was a great guest, I'm not super optimistic for Minnesota. 5-7 overall, 2-7 in conference, only winning at UCLA and Maryland. But they should sweep. I have them beating North Carolina. That's a big game for the conference in week 1. So they got to do that. But I have them lose a lot of conference games. I have them finishing 14th in the conference.
Damn.
Where do you have them finishing?
I have them finishing 13th.
Okay.
Basically the same thing.
Nebraska.
Nebraska, I have finally not being an egregious disappointment and the unluckiest team in America. I have them going 8-4, returning to a bowl game. And I have them going 5-4 in conference, sweeping the non-conference, which includes that win over Colorado. The losses would be to Iowa, Ohio State, Indiana, and USC.
Dan says, hold on. Ryan is hating on Minnesota, a non-believer. And here we thought the interview with Ryan Burns went well. But now this, yeah, I'm like, got to pick someone to lose. Like, everybody can't win. You know, I was optimistic on some of the other teams. For Nebraska, optimism, I got them at 10-2.
Damn.
The all that bad luck for the last few years,
Damn.
I feel like it's going to get put together. So Matt Rule, I got them sweeping the non-con, beating Colorado as one of the teams, but going 7-2 in conference, just losing at USC and Ohio State. So I got them at 10-2 overall, and tied for 4th with Michigan and one other team in the Big Ten.
Damn, look at you.
Yeah.
I have Nebraska at 10th in the league.
But they've not made a bowl game since 2016. I think they're going to make a huge jump. That's just my...
Yep.
So, yeah, let's see. Tony says, I need to send Ryan some of my maroon and gold Kool-Aid. All right, we'll see. I think people get tired of PJ Fleck's like stuff after a while. So we'll see what goes on there. Northwestern.
Where
you got them?
Well, I've got them improperly named. And I get it. It was founded before, the West had gotten way out to the West. I get it. You don't have to educate me. But it's been like 250 years almost. Change your name. You're not the Northwestern part of anything anymore. You are
not Chicago.
You are the most central thing possible. Be Central University. North Central, maybe. But you are not Northwestern.
Okay.
Anyway, I've got them going 5-7 and 2-7 in conference. I have the 2 wins against Illinois and Indiana. I think they're going to be bad because they're Northwestern, and they should be. They should never be good. I don't understand how Northwestern is ever good.
They were good last year.
No, it doesn't make any sense. It never does.
He was coach of the year and everything, the Big Ten.
They have like bottom 50 talent every year. They should be a G5 team. It's not even Cal and Stanford. Like, they make more sense when they're good than Northwestern ever will.
Yes. Deanza says, you guys are definitely noobs. Didn't like my 10-2 Nebraska pick.
8-4. All right.
Yeah.
He's a noob. I'm with it. I know what's going on here in the Big Ten. That's what league we're in, right?
We're in the Big Ten. Northwestern, I got them at 6-6. So a little step back from last year, but probably where it probably should have been 3-6 in conference, beating Wisconsin, Purdue, and Illinois, and then sweeping the non-con of tomato cans.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We got the Ohio State University.
I have Ohio State University going 10-2 because they hired Chip Kelly, and I think that's going to be good for at least one loss. And I've got them going 7-2 in conference, which will include losses to Penn State and Oregon, but winning everything else.
Gotcha. Tony says true freshman QB. Yes, they got a 5-star QB, true freshman, but I like him. I've seen him in person. Have you? I have. Okay. Ohio State, 12-0, 9-0. Winning the league. Winning the national championship.
But don't you seriously, Ryan
Chip Kelly
Day
puts them over the top.
Ryan Day sounding like super embattled, like all last season and off season. That doesn't affect you at all. That doesn't make you think he's going to be tight enough to, like, turn coal into diamonds.
No. They added. Deanza agrees with me. So now I'm not a noob anymore, bud. He says Ohio State is the Death Star talent for this year. Yes. I mean, they took advantage of the window, the short window when, like, before DeBoer got in there, taking, the best player probably in the portal from Alabama. They've added dudes. They went all in. They put like Phil Knight money into this roster, but they also have like tradition and everything else to go with it. I feel like this is like Michigan from last year. The retention, it just seems to me like this is what Michigan did last year. So I am riding the Buckeye wave in my first year covering the Big Ten.
Interesting. Okay. Very bold. Yeah. Very bold.
Very
pick.
bold. And right after that, another O, we have the Oregon Ducks.
I have the Oregon Ducks under our man Landanning going 11-1 and 8-1 in conference, with the loss, a very strange one, to Wisconsin.
That seems, you talk about noobs. There you go.
Look, man, Wisconsin, they're weird. You know what? Wisconsin, not to steal Oregon's thunder right now.
Evan didn't come on the show. You can't pick them to have a huge upset over Oregon.
Again, I picked these a month ago when I was still counting on Evan. When I still believed in Evan, I picked Wisconsin.
I made my picks after he bailed on us. So
yeah, well, at that time I believed in Evan, and maybe I don't anymore. But Wisconsin, I think they're taking that game. But I've got Oregon winning that one and winning the Big Ten this year.
JP Trojan fan says, I'll get you my Oregon picks in a second. Hey, David, I'm 83.5% sure I saw you at Disneyland this Saturday. Saw a man wearing a brewing hat, and he looked familiar. Then noticed someone with him was wearing a Pac-12 backpack. Then it clicked.
Indeed. That was my sister, and it was indeed me.
Oh.
Yeah.
You should have said hi to him.
Yeah.
He's very, very approachable.
You should have said hello.
Yeah. If you just walk up to him, he will say hi. If you like, hey, Dave, I'm going to be there. Can I meet you? Like, no, that's not going to work. But if you see him.
If you see me in the wild, yes. Please.
You have to find him in the wild.
Yeah.
So it's
there's
rare.
no meeting up with me.
No.
Never.
I have the Ducks at 11-1, 8-1, only lost to Ohio State. So I feel they're my number 2 team. I have Ohio State 1, Oregon 2.
All right.
Penn State.
Pennsylvania State in State College. Pennsylvania State College. I have the Nittany Lions going 11-1 as
wow.
well, joining Oregon in the club. You have
Ohio State out of the championship game.
Yeah. You know who Penn State's one loss is to?
Who?
Guess.
At USC.
Wisconsin.
What?
Wisconsin, the giant killer.
Okay, we're going to be wildly different on Wisconsin.
All right, so I've got Oregon. I've got Oregon and Penn State tying, I guess, for the league, but then Oregon beating Penn State in the Big Ten title game.
I got Penn State 10-2, 7-2 in that 4th spot with Michigan and Nebraska. I think the West Virginia game is big early on, but they play Bowling Green and Kent State after that. I have them losing at USC and Ohio State.
So I like Penn State to improve this year because they got a better offensive coordinator. And their offensive play calling was trash last year. So I think they could be better and more balanced, and they also got a lot of returning talent. I think they finally beat Ohio State this year.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. We'll see. I feel
because Chip Kelly now coaches for Ohio State.
You are really anti-Ohio State because of the Chip Kelly thing. I think it's going to burn you. I think your hatred for Chip Kelly is going to hurt you because I think
my true assessment of Chip Kelly is going to be my finest hour.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see. If Ohio State does stumble, then yes, that's going to be
when Ohio State fumbles and stumbles.
How about this is the one team. Do we have any Purdue folks in the chat? Because you're not going to like me on this one.
No.
I was pretty much more optimistic on almost every team up until now. I think the last few, there's going to be some that I just have really, really bad.
Purdue, I got 2-10, 1-8 in conference, and the one win against Northwestern.
I have Purdue 1-11 and 0-9 in conference, finishing last. Yeah, I think that's going to take a little while to get rolling again. But they play Notre Dame, at Oregon State. Like, that's tough.
Tough one.
For the out of conference. Who's it? Indiana State is the other team that they play.
Yeah.
But I don't like their conference schedule a lot. Like, they play Nebraska at home. I think they're going to be tough. You're at Wisconsin. At Illinois, I mean, could get that one. Oregon, no. Northwestern home, that could have been one. At Ohio State, no. Penn State, no. At Michigan State on a Friday. I was like, and India. I mean, there's teams they could beat, but I don't know. This was just my gut. So apologize to the Purdue fans. Don't have them doing well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finishing dead last in this new conference. How about Rutgers?
Rutgers. So they're kind of a darling right now to go like 9-3 or 8-4 or something like that.
Yeah.
The schedule's really easy, but I'm just not seeing it. Their offense is probably still going to be hugely run dependent. They didn't improve at quarterback because they got Minnesota's bad one last year. I've got them going 6-6, 4-5 in conference. The 4 wins being Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, and Washington, but losing the rest of them.
I'm in that 8-4 range for Rutgers, so I do think they're going to be a little bit better. I like what Greg Schiano has been doing there, but I have 8-4 and 5-4 in conference. So, yeah, I think they got the at Virginia Tech game is going to be tough. They get Washington at home on a Friday, Akron, and it's like I think they can be a lot better. He's just a really good coach. I think he's got them going in the right direction. So we'll see if they take a step back. But I was kind of optimistic on Rutgers.
All right.
Team I'm not as optimistic on, your UCLA Bruins. What do you got for the UCLA Bruins?
UCLA. I have going 6-6 and 5-4 in conference, 1-2 out of conference. I have them losing to both LSU and Fresno State. But I have them winning, and I don't know if these are the exact same I did in my preview. They're probably not, but I have them winning the USC game, the Rutgers game, the Indiana game, the Iowa game, and the Minnesota game, but losing to Nebraska, Penn State, Washington, and Oregon.
Wow. I think first-year head coach Sean Foster can do good things. I don't think it's going to be in year one. New conference, the worst travel schedule in the country. I got the Bruins at 4-8, 2-7 in conference. I think they get the win at Hawaii. I'm beating Indiana. I'm beating Iowa on a Friday in the Rose Bowl. I think that'd be weird enough. And I got them.
So you have them losing to Minnesota? What do you have?
Yeah, Minnesota at home.
So, all right, they're going to get blasted in those 3 straight games, and then you've got them just like crippled and broken at home against Minnesota.
Yeah, because it's LSU, Oregon, and Penn State.
Totally fair. Like, honestly, we've talked about this one a bunch. Whatever team emerges from Penn State is the big question mark for this entire season. Like, if they're still with it, the final 7 games are all winnable. But if they're not, like, they could get broken in half pretty quickly.
Yeah. Now, I was a noob, and now that I picked, he's a Rutgers fan, Dienza, 8-4 with a winning conference record works for this Rutgers fan. There you go. See, I'm more optimistic about the team that you like.
Ruckus.
This is one to go we're going to be wildly different on. The team I cover, USC.
The USC Trojans.
Ranked number 23 in the AP.
I've got them very, they should be happy with this, right? They'll be equal to a team that beat them last year. They're on the come up. I have them going 6-6, 5-4 in conference, and 1-2 out of conference. They're on the come up.
Yeah.
Last year, UCLA was above them, right? 18 points above them. Now I've got them even. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That's something. I've got their 4 losses being to Minnesota, Michigan, Penn State, and UCLA in conference, and then the 2 out of conference, Notre Dame and LSU.
Yeah. Kevin says, question, did Dave forget that USC took their elite defensive coordinator? How are they beating USC? Yeah.
Well, so they took a guy, I don't know if you're familiar with him. There's this guy, Caleb Williams, who he won some sort of trophy. What was it called again?
That was the Heisman.
How do you spell that? Like, he is man. So he won that. And then last year, Lincoln Riley, pretty good offensive coordinator. They made a great hire when they hired him for offensive coordinator at USC. He calls plays sometimes that aren't good, and then the quarterback can bail him out if he's got legs that move right.
Yeah.
Miller Moss is going to, quote, run the offense better than Caleb Williams, as people have said, but I don't know if he's going to bail out Lincoln Riley's shitty play calling on occasion with his legs and
he's had like a top 5 offense with a whole bunch of different quarterbacks every year. Mm-hmm. It's just he's always.
When was the last one that was like a statue or like borderline?
I mean, Baker Mayfield does. And Miller Moss is not a statue. He can run around. Like
Baker can run a lot better than Miller did.
I mean,
come on. But
this is Dave Koping.
I think the offense is going to take a slight step back. I think it'll be top 10-ish, which is a big difference from top 5-ish. And I think the defense will be improved, but I don't think it's going up to UCLA 2023 levels. I don't think they have the edge rush.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be like a top 50-ish unit. I think they'll be fine, but I think they've got a tough schedule.
They won 7 games last year with an atrocious defense. Like, you think they're going to be worse with a better defense. It's kind of silly. Anyway, I got them.
Their offense is going to be a lot worse.
9. I don't think it's going to be a lot worse.
It's going to be a lot worse.
It's going to. Lincoln Riley's never had a bad offense.
I don't think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be a lot worse.
Yeah. 9-3.
Orders of magnitude.
8-1 in conference. So I have them losing to Michigan on the road, LSU in the opener, and Notre Dame. So yeah.
What do you have them doing?
9-3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Washington.
This is one where, like, I picked it a month ago, and I'm feeling less good about it the further we get away from it, because I had them going 5-7 and 2-7 in conference, but the closer we get to the season, the more I think they're going to be better than that.
Really?
Yeah. Everything I'm reading about, like, quarterback, receiving core, I think they're going to be further ahead than I was thinking they would be. Anyway, I've got them going 2-7 in conference with the only wins against Northwestern and UCLA.
I have the exact same. I picked them exactly the same as you.
Look at us. Great minds.
Yes. So I have them the same. I think it's going to take a while. Like, literally one dude back from the 2 deep, right? Like, that's horrible. Like, that is, oh wait, let me do it if we have it here. That is
ferocious.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot to overcome for Jedd Fisch in year 1. He did okay. Like, when we first took over Arizona, it was like, it wasn't an immediate, like, it was like, it took a little while, but he got it going. I think it'll be the same thing at Washington, but this year I think it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Then last one.
Beautiful Wisconsin.
The only team we didn't preview.
I had
Flood.
Wisconsin going 8-4 and 6-3 in conference. So I had them kind of rebounding to not quite classic Wisconsin good, but like getting there under Luke Fickell. I had the 3 conference losses as Nebraska, Rutgers, and USC.
I much less optimistic on Wisconsin. 5-7, 3-6. They play Alabama in the non-con. That's not going to go well. I have them losing on the road at USC, at Northwestern, at Iowa, but they also play Penn State and Oregon, and then at Nebraska. So I think it's a pretty tough schedule. I mean, they were going to have to be better to win some of those games. And, they potentially could do that. But since we didn't get to preview them, I'm not going to be optimistic. I'm not going to be told by someone that why this team's going to be good. I'm going to pick them to not be good. And I got them at 5-7.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Well, I would say we had many that were exactly the same. And then we had some wild divergence.
I think I was more optimistic on more teams, but I was like, the teams I was pessimistic on, I just picked them to be pretty bad. Like Purdue, I have bad, and Wisconsin, like worse than a lot of people think.
I can't believe you're calling me pessimistic about USC. I've got them going equal to the team that beat them last year.
Yeah. Nice.
Look, man. Look, Danton Lynn brings it down from an 18-point win for UCLA to maybe like a point. I think that's improvement, especially at the Rose Bowl this time. Man.
That's funny. UCLA.
Because you got to add 3 points, right?
Makes the worst coaching hire in the history of college football. Someone told me that. I don't remember who it was.
I don't know who it could have been.
And they're going to have the same record as USC. That makes so much sense, Dave. This is like early in the basketball season when like UCLA like beats Kentucky or something at like the Maui Classic, and then Dave's just like, can you only hang one banner this year? They could probably win the national championship. Probably need
to just hang a couple just in case, because you can save on work, right? You only need to get the ladder out once. You pay the seamstress probably a lesser rate because she just has to sew it twice.
Yeah,
And
then they lose to like Cal, and he's like, "Oh my God, just fire everybody! They're all terrible."
I swing.
Take some swings. Yeah. So this is Dave's time. If you're new to the show, this is Dave's time to swing. I would say like normally, I'm definitely more bullish. Like I picking USC. I mean, I pick against USC a lot, the team I cover. But I would say this year, for some reason, just from what I've seen and talking to people, I am like a little more optimistic. Like I feel like they could. The schedule's good for like a lot of good teams. So if you don't have your shit together, you could lose a lot of games. Like you could go 6-6. Like if you're not playing well, I feel like they're going to play well, and then you're going to get a lot of credit for beating a bunch of those teams. But they could easily just not play up to what their potential is, and then lose a lot of those games. But I would say normally I'm not super like optimistic, like whatever going into the season, like trying to tell you like, oh, they're going to be great. But I kind of have a feeling this year that they could be. So we'll see.
There are people in your message board who are like 9-3. Wow, Ryan's a pessimist. He must hate this team.
I think people would be pretty happy. 9-3, you're probably going to the playoff with that schedule. And the thing is that we got to talk about, like you have to root for all this different shit. Florida State is like one of the favorites in the ACC. That's great that they go down. It would have been good if SMU lost too. You want to try to get 4 or 5 teams in from the Big Ten. And so you're watching what these other potential elite teams are doing. But that Florida State early loss to Georgia Tech could hurt them. And it could come down to like Iowa or Florida State getting into the playoff at the end. And Iowa gets in over that stuff. So there's a lot of really good out-of-conference games in the first week. So it's not just what your conference does. Minnesota beating North Carolina is going to be a big deal if they can do that. But also, what's the top SEC teams doing? Because that's probably who you're going to be competing with a lot. But keeping the ACC and the Big 12 to like one team or maybe 2, that helps you as far as a conference goes to get more teams in, which I know you care about.
I care about so much. I love to talk about the 12-team playoff here on August 26th.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Well, that was cool. We got a bunch of stuff in. Why don't we take a quick break? And we'll come back and do our picks for week 1, which is exciting. Back in a minute, everyone. All righty. We are back. If you're watching on YouTube, pretty much didn't go away. But if you're listening to the podcast, you heard a couple commercials. Hopefully there wasn't any screeching in there. And we're back. So we got a preview. Oh, wait, we don't have any sound. So our old sound was, what was this?
Pac-12 Roundup.
That doesn't work.
We don't have Pac-12 anymore.
All right, should I just do sounds this time and then we use them going forward? Like
we don't
just
have
cut
sounds.
them? No, but like I'll do the noises and then
No,
we'll
I
cut
think
them.
I want to do this right. If we got to like come up with our own sounds. We need to do this somehow.
You don't want me to do Rutgers Scarlet Knights and I do
No.
something from Gone with the Wind?
We just can't. You could, yeah. We need that to be real.
Oh, Ashley.
Especially for 18. We're not doing this for 18 freaking teams, you know.
Okay, fine.
All right. Well,
Big Ten Roundup.
yeah. Okay, so we got some games on
All right, Thursday.
You know, August is capitalized. You should do that.
What?
You have to capitalize like the names of months.
What?
You wrote in the roundup August with a
Oh my God.
yeah.
Look at what I have to deal with. This guy
Yeah.
nitpicking constantly.
Well, if I'm going to put this into
My goodness.
a document,
My
I'd rather have
goodness.
it.
All right.
Correct.
At 3 p.m. on Thursday. So this is in 3 days. If you're listening live, this is 3 p.m. Oh man. Okay. We're no longer a Pacific Coast show exclusively, or Mountain, but they don't really count. We now have to cater to all of you, but we record on the West Coast. So I want you to understand, and this is not meant in ill towards anyone, we're going to continue to use West Coast time because it's better. It's a better experience for football, especially because you can start watching games at 9 a.m. here. It's magical, and it's, you get to watch from like 9 a.m. to like 11 p.m. It's fantastic.
It is. It's the best. Yes, it's the best time to watch.
Just everyone move out here. It's great. There's lots of places. Go up to Idaho. Idaho's great. There's lots of empty space in Nevada, and only some of it, I think, is still radioactive, right?
There's parts, yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's parts that are radioactive if that's what you're into.
We're gonna drive through it.
Yeah.
On Friday.
Arizona has a lot of empty space. It's 35 degrees most of the year, but you can live there too. And that only gets weird for part of the year, time-wise. Hope this has been helpful. Thursday at 3 p.m. On the Big Ten Network, some fellow named Howard is taking on the entire Rutgers football team.
Yeah.
This will take place in Piscataway, New Jersey. There's no line on this game that I can find. I do think Rutgers is going to beat the hell out of that gentleman, Howard.
Yeah, Big Ten Network got Rutgers as well. No line, so this won't count towards our picks. We got another one.
We got another one next. This is at 5 p.m. on Big Fox. The North Carolina Tar Heels. So you don't want me to do sound effects for any of them anymore?
Fine.
No, it's fine. They'll be traveling to Minnesota to take on the Golden Gophers. This is UNC is a 1.5 point road favorite.
Where are you going on this?
I got to go back and look at who I picked. I've got Minnesota winning this one.
Okay.
I think they're going to be improved offensively from where they were last year because there's not really much worse that you can be after. I'm gonna give it a shot. Ethan Kaliakmanis, we going with that?
Sure.
Does that work for you?
He was pretty bad.
Yeah. I think the new quarterback, Brosmer, the guy from FCS level, I think he's going to improve the play at the position significantly. I think they'll be fine defensively, and I think it'll be enough to beat a not great North Carolina team.
Like I said before, this is a big game. I'm going to take Minnesota as well on the points. North Carolina replacing a legendary quarterback, going on the road. Wasn't really impressed with what I saw from the ACC week 1. So I feel like Minnesota might not have a great year, but I do like them in this game, especially getting 1.5 points. Like, I'll take it.
Beautiful.
Next up.
At 6 p.m. on the Big Ten Network, Eastern Illinois is traveling all the way to Illinois in Champaign. Illinois is only a 28-point favorite. Did I even have that listed in the doc?
You said no line.
Well, fancy that. There's now a line.
Oh.
And Illinois is a 28-point favorite over Eastern Illinois on the Big Ten Network. I'm going to take Illinois. They're my pick in the survivor pool. I don't think they're going to be very good this year, but I do still think they're good enough to beat Eastern Illinois. Do I take them by 28, though? That's the real question here. Because now we're into lines that matter.
Yeah.
No. I'm taking Eastern Illinois
Wow.
to cover the 28.
Okay. I kind of wanted to go into this with picking teams that are getting a shit ton of points because, it's a shit ton of points and you don't know what's going to happen in week one. We saw, Georgia Tech was getting double digits. Nevada was getting double digits and should have won that game.
West Texas Mike has an important question that I think we need to supersede this for. I wonder who Ryan is trying to impress by censoring David and his mascot sounds.
Oh, who am I trying
Who
to
are you
impress?
trying to impress?
Now, okay, look, West Texas Mike. I love the sounds we had. Like, these are great. Like, am I going to miss doing this?
Utah Utes.
Right, but,
Yes.
but are you going to miss?
Am I going to miss this?
Stanford Cardinal.
Am I going to miss choosing between this
Washington State Cougars.
and this?
Washington State Cougars.
All of that, yes.
But are you going to miss?
We need to do it, though. We
me,
need to get
me
a
going
rule
Badger
Not as much.
for Wisconsin. You don't love that.
in. No.
Wow.
Well,
Absolute
it's
haters.
it's a supplement. It's not the main course. We need to move on. I think we need the main course, and then when Rutgers plays Virginia Tech, you could make up something, and I'm cool with it. But I want to get an actual soundboard with the real teams to build off of, and then you can improv after that. That's my thoughts.
Haters.
Yeah.
All right. Onward and upward.
Yeah.
Did you pick yours? What are you picking?
I was in the middle of talking about it. Shit. This is tough. 28 points. I'm going to go with you two. It's 28 points is like just a lot of points. I don't know. Illinois is going to be that good. They're
What I learned from Saturday's Hawaii-Delaware State game is that in these early season games for bad teams or teams that we project to be
Take
pretty
some
bad,
points,
just
yeah.
take the points.
Yeah,
even if it's against an FCS opponent, it's probably bad. Just take the points.
that's kind of what I've been going with. And I don't know enough about Eastern Illinois. Like the Illini could paste them, but I've just seen too many teams like hang close. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take points here. Okay, we got to move on to Friday, the day I get to Las Vegas.
Friday. You'll be watching these games in a bar. So first one up at 4 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. Florida Atlantic is traveling all the way to Michigan State in East Lansing. The Spartans are 13.5-point favorites over Florida Atlantic, which seems like a reasonable number of points. But I'm just going to check one thing really quick. Yeah, I think I'll take Michigan State. I don't think Florida Atlantic is expected to be any good this year. So yeah, give me the Spartans.
Wow, that's a lot of points there. I'm gonna stick with my take the points kind of thing. Also thinking Michigan State is going to be that good this year. It'd be better if it was 14, but 13.5.
They're going to win by 2 touchdowns exactly.
That would probably be what happens. But
Yes.
I'll take the points. I'm going to stick with my thing about points.
Beautiful.
Plus, I don't know anything about Florida Atlantic, so this is great to pick a game when you don't know anything about.
It's the best.
Yeah. At least when we were doing the Pac-12 games, like we've seen those teams for years. You're like, oh yeah, that.
Well, and there's also the effect of like they play the same sort of teams every year, so like the same G5 teams and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the last time I watched a Florida Atlantic football game, like ever. Like maybe when Lane Kiffin was there, maybe.
Yeah.
Like in a bowl game or something, but besides that, no.
All right, and then we got Wisconsin up.
We've got Wisconsin. So at 6 p.m. on FS1, Western Michigan is traveling all the way to Madison, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's a 24.5-point favorite. That's a lot of points. That feels like too many. I'm going to take Western Michigan to cover that.
I'm going to as well. Just a lot of points. I don't think Wisconsin is going to be that good this year, mostly because they didn't come on our show. So I'm going to take Western Michigan and some points. For you Pac-12 fans that are still listening, Stanford plays that night too. Did they play? Who they play? Is it SMU or something? I'll be in Las Vegas at Flanker Sports Bar Friday night if you want to come around, if you're out there. TCU. I think Stanford plays TCU that night. Yeah. But that'll be a fun one to watch too. But that's our former.
Will that be fun? Stanford TCU? Is that what you're describing as fun?
Yes. It's the ACC.
Are you trying to pretend like we haven't seen Stanford play football before?
It's the ACC versus the Big 12.
Good God.
I know, it's going to be tough.
The amount of propaganda coming from you now.
I'm trying to give a little love to our old comrades, you know?
Yeah, but give them to the right people. Don't give them to Stanford. There's only 4 fans.
Matthew's doing our thing. Yeah, but
we love you, Matthew.
And
Zodiac Killer.
Someone I was talking to someone yesterday.
But he's our longtime resident Rutgers fan.
Yes, now he is. About like true crime stuff, and then they didn't know the Zodiac Killer, and I was like, yeah, like that was one that was just like never solved. So, but he calls into our show, but besides that, we don't know who he is.
Yep.
Saturday, August 31st, big slate.
Yeah, huge slate, and it starts at 9 a.m. with 4 different games you can watch at 9 a.m. If you really want to feel for how...
Wait, how many of that?
Yeah, exactly, 4. If you really want to get a feel
at the same time?
Yeah, for how many teams are in this
like
stupid league
before
now.
Brunch? Like before brunch, you're going to 4
you
games
can watch a bunch of your conference mates at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Leading things off.
How annoying is it for like the people in the Midwest or like East Coast?
We've been doing this forever.
It's not 9 a.m.
It's at noon.
It's noon, dumbass.
Yeah, no, it's 9 a.m.
It's our 9 a.m.
It's God's time here. 9 a.m. on Big Fox. Number 8, Penn State. Traveling to West Virginia, Morgantown, West Virginia. Penn State is currently an 8.5-point favorite on the road. This one obviously is going to be a big bellwether game, I think you would say.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our impression of Penn State is going to be formed by this game. 8.5 points. I mean, West Virginia should be solid this year. I don't think they're going to be bad by any stretch of the imagination, and I think they're counting on this being like a raucous environment and all that. But Penn State, I think, is going to be really good this year. So I like them to win it, not like super handily, but by a couple of scores. So yeah, give me Penn State minus 8.5.
Dude, it's a rivalry like crazy. Playing on the road in West Virginia is going to be tough. I think Penn State could be. I picked them to be really good this year, but I think this is going to be a close game. Just more than a touchdown. I'm going to take the points in this one. This is one of those ones where I think Penn State wins, but they might blow them out. But I've seen Drew Aller not put up a lot of points at times. Some crazy crap can happen in Morgantown, so I'm going to take West Virginia and the points here. Real quick, Troy in the chat. I might piss off a lot of people with this. Troy in the chat says 11 a.m. Central. Okay, here's the thing. Like East Coast time, I get it. Like you got New York, Boston, Miami, whatever. You got all this stuff. Central is like this sort of like part of Central is you don't even have your own time zone really because it's like, it's always like 8-7 Central. Like they're going to do the same. Like where we would get something at 8 o'clock Pacific time. Central, they're going to show you the exact same thing that the East Coast is getting just because they're like, yeah, you don't get your own. Like it's coming on an hour earlier for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like, so Chicago, sorry, you don't have your own time zone. Like you're on basically just leeching off the New York one.
Yeah, and I
got our own out.
I don't want to do this much math. Okay. I can add 3, but I don't want to then like subtract 1 from that or add 2. This is hard. I've only got so many fingers, and how many do I need for all these time zones? 10?
Yeah.
15? There's no way of knowing.
Antonio says 8 a.m. Alaska. I'm like, yes, that's a good.
That's right,
Hawaii time does matter.
That's the cool thing. So I'm going to be in Hawaii this weekend for UCLA at Hawaii. I'm going to start watching these games at 6 a.m.
Yeah, that's good. Your kids will be like running around and
they're not coming.
They're not coming. No, yeah, but and the weird thing with Hawaii though, you're not really sure if it's like daylight savings or not. It could be 3, it could be 2, so it moves a little bit. Deanza says Central Time is the official Big Ten time. Bullshit. It's now West Coast.
Yeah. We have the highest concentration of Big Ten teams here in the city of Los Angeles. So I think that's, I mean, in terms of a 20-mile radius, we have the most Big Ten teams anywhere.
Yeah. In the world.
Yeah, that's right.
So
You may not like it, but this is just what peak Big Ten performance looks like.
yeah. Okay. What do we got?
Next up, we have
the Hawkeyes.
yes, Illinois State at 9 a.m. on the Big Ten Network, traveling to number 25 Iowa. A line was posted on this very late in the day. Iowa is a 22.5-point favorite. They will struggle to score 22.5 points. Give me Illinois State.
Yeah, that's 3 games worth of offense for.
I mean, are they scoring multiple defensive touchdowns? Because if so, then
Very
yes,
well
I would
could.
take that. But
I
think they can score 10 points.
Yeah, Iowa's offense is going to be better, but they're not going to be piling on points.
If I had to ask you, how many points did they average last year? We know they didn't hit 25, but how many did they end up averaging?
I'm going to guess 17.
15.4.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I guessed low.
They averaged 7 points under the spread for this game.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think Iowa could be a lot better. I think they can score. I feel like they can score a bunch of points this year. We'll see. But I'm not picking them to do that until I see it. Now, they could do it against Illinois State and then not do it against a lot of other teams. But that's just a huge spread for a team that does not score, that average 15 points a game. I'm not going to go there. Nice. There can't be any more 9 a.m. games, right?
Certainly can't be. There's 2 more. All right, on FS1 at 9 a.m., UConn traveling to Maryland in College Park. Maryland is a 20.5-point favorite. UConn, coached by former UCLA head coach Jim Mora, took a major step back last year. They had been halfway decent the previous year. They had gone to a bowl game, I believe. And then last year, they went... Jeez, come on, UConn. They went 3-9. So after losing the Myrtle Beach Bowl in 2022, they went 3-9. I think there were a lot of injuries last year. They may be better this year. Maryland, I have taken a step back. They may struggle to score points. My big thing here is it's a lot of points. So I'm going to take Connecticut. I think Maryland's going to win comfortably. I just don't think it'll be 20.5 points comfortably.
I'm the same thing. I mean, you lose the all-time leading Big Ten passing leader, and you're going to have to win by 3 touchdowns. It's the opener. My whole thing was, I don't care if I'm wrong. I'm going to just take a lot of points in week 1. So I'm the same thing here. Would I be shocked if Maryland, blows the doors off of UConn at home? No. Would I be shocked if Wisconsin blew the doors off Western Michigan? No. But I feel like if I take the 24.5 here, the 22.5 there, the 20.5 here, you're going to win more of those than you lose.
You'll be eating good.
I think you'll be eating good. So
in the neighborhood.
Yes. I think Maryland, because they take a big step back offensively, I don't see them covering a huge spread.
All right. A game that still doesn't have a spread, even now that I've refreshed it, at 9 a.m. on the Big Ten Network. Indiana State, home of Larry Bird, taking on Purdue in West Lafayette. A couple of basketball schools taking each other on.
Yeah.
I think Purdue will win. I don't know by how many.
We're not going to pick. When there's no line, we're just not going to pick. But yeah, we think Purdue's going to win. Larry Bird's no longer there. He's not playing that sport. I think we'll.
I don't think he ever played that sport, really.
No.
Outside of maybe high school.
He could have been a good tight end or something, maybe.
I think he probably played quarterback.
Oh,
that vision.
Oh, he does. 6'9", you could see over the puck. You could see over everything. He throw dimes on the basketball court. Just imagine him dishing like that. That'd be pretty cool. So yeah, this was my pick for the winner. I don't think Purdue's going to win a lot of games, so I had to pick them. If I pick them to go 0-9 or 1-11, this is the only game I have them winning, so I needed to pick them at some point.
That makes sense.
All right.
Next up,
are we out of 9 a.m.?
Yeah, we're finally done with 9 a.m. Next up, at 12:30 p.m. on CBS, Akron Akron, home of LeBron James, will be traveling to Ohio State. How far is Akron from Columbus?
I don't know.
Why don't you know? Why aren't you looking that up as I'm talking about it?
Because it's a dumb thing you brought up. I don't have to do it.
Well, hang on. We're going to look it up. It's 2 hours and 31 minutes. You think they fly? You think they bus? What do they do?
That's a bus.
You think that's a bus?
Yeah, that's a bus.
If it was Ohio State traveling to Akron, would that be a plane or a bus?
Probably a series of helicopters.
Ohio State's ranked number 2 in the country.
Yes.
Ohio State is also favored by 50. That's 5-0 points in this game. I'm going to take Akron.
Yeah.
That's too many points.
I mean, like,
they're going to win by 7 touchdowns, but not 7 touchdowns and a point.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, how do you pick 50? I don't know. Like, I don't know doodly squat about Akron, but just watching a team try to get to 50. If I did this, I bet this game, like, it's the most excruciating thing to watch where you're just like, score. You know, like you just need them to.
What kind of sick,
like
demented person would you have to be to like really bet this game?
Yeah.
Like not like, oh, I'm just going to bet all my picks, but like really bet this one.
It's like best case scenario, it's like 28-0 after the first quarter, and you still don't feel like super comfortable because like now, 28, you kind of need it to be like 35.
Yeah.
14, and you're like, oh, we still got to score, you know. But 28-0, you're like, okay, we're going to shut it down. And it's hard to root like for when you got a 50-point spread. Now, Ohio State might beat them 70-0.
Could easily happen.
Yeah, but I'm going to take 50 points.
50, yeah,
I'll take.
Anytime you give me 50, I'm going to take it.
I mean, yeah, that's a lot.
All right. Next up, we have the FIU, Florida International. I always get FIU confused with FITM, the Institute of Design.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's like a art school.
Yeah,
it's not an art school, Florida International.
No.
12:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. They're traveling to Indiana. So we're getting to the point of this show where I could have sworn we already previewed an Indiana game.
No.
But there's just so many I-states.
There's
so many other Indianas that are involved in this whole thing.
Indiana's kind of like the center of the Big Ten.
Yeah, man. Wow. What are we doing here?
They really, really want Notre Dame. They need another Indiana
How did we end
team.
up here?
Here we are.
Yeah, wow. Indiana's 21.5-point favorites. So this one, like, I like Indiana. I think they're going to give teams trouble, especially early on, because they're giving a lot of unscouted looks. Florida International is also supposed to be terrible this year. Like, they're ranked in the preseason SP Plus. They are like 128th.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a ton of points. But at the same time, they're going to be terrible. Give me Indiana.
Oh, damn. I'm the same way. I really, just listening to Kirk Cignetta, you're just like, okay, this is one of those things where they got to come out and make us. I feel like they're going to make a statement. Yeah. It's a ton of points. They might win by like 17 and like feel like we've got a lot of things we got to work on and blah, blah, blah. But I kind of feel like if I use hot garbage and Indiana's going to try to put on some kind of show. So this was one of the big ones that I was like, I'm going to take, lay the points on this one. So I was hoping you'd take FIU, but okay.
Yep.
All right.
Next up, we have another 12:30 game. So there are 4 9 a.m. games, and then there are 4 12:30 games. Next up, UTEP traveling to Nebraska, 12:30 on Big Fox. Nebraska is a 27.5-point home favorite.
Yes.
This is another team that was offensively challenged last year. Had poor quarterback play. They've obviously improved the talent at the quarterback position. They haven't improved experience. I do think he's going to play well to start the season. I think generally the freshman problems start to come into focus in conference play. But I don't know if he's producing that many points more than what they would have done anyway. So I think, it's not going to be an overnight success where they're going to suddenly be a top 15 offense. So, yeah, I'll take UTEP in the points.
Yeah, it's 4 touchdowns, man. You got a freshman quarterback making his first college start. Like, I know, just give me the points. Like, I think I have Nebraska going 10-2. I think they win, by like 20. I don't know about 28. So I'm going to take UTEP also.
Beautiful. All right, last.
By the way, the YouTube TV thing, the multi-game is going to be great for this because you could like watch all these games at once. Pretty choice.
Yeah, Go for Insight has a great idea. To better assimilate to the Big Ten and vice versa, I propose David and Ryan refer to all of the I schools as UI and all M schools as U of M, similar to the way USC and UCLA both start with U. Great. I think that'll simplify things tremendously for us. All right, final 12:30 game on the Big Ten Network. Miami of Ohio, not to be confused with Miami of Florida, traveling to Northwestern to take on the Wildcats. This is taking place in Evanston at that weird stadium that they've got going on right now.
Yeah.
Lawn
chairs and stuff.
Yeah, Northwestern is a 2.5-point favorite. Yeah, I mean, you could easily see our friends Northwestern trying to lose this one. I don't think they will, and I think they will cover, but I think they could win by like 3 to 7 points.
Yeah, this is a much more reasonable spread. Northwestern, I think, is going to take a little step back this year, but overachieved last year. I think these are the kind of games that you win. Now, is it going to be? I think they're going to have trouble in some of the elite Big Ten teams that they're going to be playing. But yeah, winning by a field goal, I feel pretty confident that they'll be able to do that over in Miami of Ohio. You know, it's MAC. It's the MAC.
It's the
Big
MAC,
Ten.
baby.
Just show your receipts. You know, we get paid way more than you. We should beat you. Like if you can't beat a MAC team by 3 at home, they're not going to be very good. They won 8 games last year or whatever, right? Yeah. So 3 points is fine.
Yeah.
If this was like 14, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah. All right. Now we move on to the 4:30 block. Only 2 games in this block, both featuring former West Coast teams.
Yeah, I will be. If you're in Vegas,
well, actually, yeah. Well, no, one is.
What?
The other one is Michigan. Go ahead.
Yeah. Vegas, flanker in Mandalay Bay. It's about like 4:00. We're going to be there watching these games. This is on. We got these 2 games on. Plus, Notre Dame is playing at Texas A&M. So a lot of good games on at that. We'll be at the Flanker Bar hanging out. So come join us.
Beautiful. So the first game is Idaho traveling to number 3 Oregon, 4:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. There is no line on this game. Oregon is going to murder them.
Yeah, we saw what they did to Liberty in the bowl game. Oregon, if you're not familiar, they excel in spaces like this. Like
they murder these.
They
teams.
do like to cover these games that it's like a 50-point spread.
Yeah.
If this was minus 50, what would you do?
I might take Oregon.
I would think about it for sure.
Dan Lanning is the in the CFB game. He is the motivator archetype, even though he recruits really well. Like he gets guys up for games.
Yeah.
Another 4:30 game on NBC. That's ABC, isn't it? ABC. Which one is the?
No, I think it's NBC.
Is that NBC?
Yeah.
NBC. All right, that was fun. We had a good time there. Fresno State traveling to Ann Arbor to take on number 9 Michigan. Fresno State no longer has Jeff Tedford. They're returning a fair amount of their offense. They added a key piece in Corey Foreman from USC, who apparently had an awesome spring and is now going to be one of their starters on the edge.
It's funny. Romello Height, the transfer from USC too, went to Georgia Tech, and he wreaked a little havoc against Florida State.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Corey Foreman, maybe things finally came into focus for him, and he's going to be ready to tear up some teams. So
he had one big play in his career, like the interception against UCLA. That was like the one big play.
Yeah, Michigan lost a ton. I think there's still like kind of an open question about what this team is going to fully look like. They've just replaced so much. And 21.5 points is a lot. So, Fresno State, a lot of it is Tedford. A lot of it was Kalen DeBoer. But a lot of it is like, go back to Pat Hill. They like these kind of big game spots. And they were expected to be halfway decent this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and they lose this one by like 14-17 instead of 21.5.
Yeah,
so maybe Fresno State.
Fresno State's good in these situations, like mucking it up and like keeping it close. You're replacing so much on the offensive side. You're probably gonna be running the ball a bunch. Like I just don't see this as being a shootout with a whole bunch of points being scored. So more than 3 touchdowns. I think Michigan wins comfortably, but I'm going to, again, seems like a perfect spot to take points in, just because we've seen Fresno State do this time and time again. Don't know what the mentality, like they could just get blown away because of, Tedford retiring as late as he did, with the medical reasons and stuff, but they could rally around him too. Just too many reasons to not just give me the points. And, if it doesn't work out, like you're like, yep, I could see Michigan just blow them away. But I think there's a lot of scenarios where it's closer than that. And so I'll take the points.
Works for me. All right. Final Saturday game. Weber State.
There's 2 more.
Final Saturday game. Oh, no. Yeah, no, it's one.
There's a team you cover that you.
Oh, God. It's because on ESPN's site, which is where I still go to look at the teams.
Why do you do that?
It populates to the top. Yeah. Anyway. Final 4:30 game, because there were actually 3, not 2. On Saturday is UCLA traveling to Hawaii on CBS. This is getting national treatment. UCLA is a 14.5 point.
Why is it at 4:30? It should be like, way later. Than
that's honestly, it's killing me because I was trying to really surgically strike Hawaii. You can see the wheels turning in my head. Where do I make a Pearl Harbor joke or no? Do I?
Too soon.
Yeah, I call it the Yamamoto. All right, so UCLA traveling to Hawaii, 14.5 point favorite. So I watched a little bit of the Hawaii Delaware State game.
What did that end up being? What was the final?
Delaware State 35-14, I think.
Delaware State was winning for a while, I think.
It was tied for a while in the third quarter. I watched really closely the first half, and then I kind of checked in throughout, but I got most of what I needed from that first half. Here's the thing with Hawaii. They're bad. But they're bad in that way that first games can be bad. Their offense looked really out of sorts. Defensively, and this is where you got to really bake in your knowledge of how bad FCS teams are. Defensively, they looked okay, but you should always look okay against Delaware State.
Yeah.
What stood out to me was that they're small. Like their defense, just their personnel, it looked comparable to Delaware State. And Delaware State at different times didn't look out athleted. Like their quarterback was making some plays with his legs and able to, kind of run past the defense. The two programs just looked too comparable to me. And so UCLA has a lot of questions to answer. They've got to figure out everything with Deshaun Foster. And he's never coached a game as a head coach before. Like, what's fourth down going to look like? How are those substitution patterns going to look? How much control does he have over any of that? Is he going to be, doing any of the game day stuff, or is he mostly going to be there for rah-rah purposes? What's all of that going to look like? No idea, but just Jimmy's and Joe's alone, UCLA should cover this.
Wow. Okay.
And if they don't, that'll mean Hawaii improved a lot, or UCLA's in for a world of hurt this year.
I'm going to take the points here just because that's mostly what I've done the entire, week 1. But the fact that Hawaii has already played a game, I think that gives you a little bit of an edge. Like you've seen, you've got to go out there and do some things. And this is literally the first game Deshaun Foster is ever going to be the head coach of. And so it's a long travel game. I think UCLA's going to win, but you get more than a touchdown. I'll just take the points here. And, Hawaii's got a week to kind of figure some stuff out that didn't go right, where UCLA's going to go to Hawaii and then have a list of, okay, we need to do this, we need to do this, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I think Hawaii's already working on their to-do list, what needs to be fixed. And UCLA's going to figure it out in the game. So give me 14.5 points, I'll take it.
All right. And then the final Saturday night game. Is this for real this time?
That's the final one, yeah.
Thank God. There's so many games, man. 8 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. So you'll get a taste of what we've all been enjoying in the Pac-12 for many, many years.
This is a familiar game,
yes. The 8 p.m. Weber State traveling to Washington in Seattle. Washington is now, did I have this originally? They're now a 27.5 point favorite.
Oh, okay. No,
so it just got added. Weber State's an FCS program, but they're historically one of the better ones. So if I'm going back to Jed Fish's first year at Arizona, what did he do? He lost to Northern Arizona, didn't he?
He did. I believe he did.
They have to replace a lot.
Like
I'll
everything.
I'll just take the Weber State points.
Same thing.
I'm just taking the points.
I don't think Washington's going to be that good this year. They're going to take a little rebuild. They'll win, but I could see it being within 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so.
Weber State's historically a very good FCS program.
They're a tough out. You know, they're not the rollover and die kind of FCS program.
Well, it's where Ben Howland, he cut his teeth.
Oh, very nice.
I think he lost teeth actually.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for Saturday. That's it, right? No more games beyond
One
that?
more.
Oh, wow. Who knew? Is it a big one?
It's pretty big.
Oh, wow. Is that why they stuck it on Sunday?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe.
All right, Sunday, September 1st, 4:30 p.m. on ABC. Number 23, USC. How are they ranked? Nobody knows. Nobody can explain it. Taking on number 13, LSU, in Las Vegas, a neutral site game in Allegiant Stadium. LSU is currently a 4.5-point favorite. All right, so here's what I know about LSU.
Okay.
They have a great offensive line. It's probably going to be, one of the top 5 offensive lines in the country. They have a new quarterback who drew rave reviews in the offseason, performed well in limited spots last year, but people seem to really think he's going to be good. I think it's fair to assume LSU's offense is going to be very good this year. The defense wasn't good last year, might not be good again this year. Defensive front, not a LSU defensive front, and frankly, their secondary is not really what you think of as an LSU secondary.
Yeah.
I think there's major potential for this just being a pure shootout, like pure, simple, like just run it out there and throw the ball. And with that, I'm taking USC plus 4.5.
I already wrote down LSU for you. Crap. I got to rethink. Now, I'm going to take the points here, too. They're very similar teams. So, again, it's like you're getting more than a field goal. Could LSU win by 14? Sure. Like USC could probably, too. But I feel like this is one of those things. You just don't know what's going to happen. I'll take the points there. I feel a little more confident that USC's defense is going to get better than LSU's. They both tried to go get, like, defensive tackles in the portal, and Brian Kelly couldn't do it. Lincoln Riley couldn't do it. The Oregon.
Wait, no. USC got that Wyoming transfer, a defensive tackle.
Right. Not the big ones, not like the Michigan State
But he's
guys.
going to start for them, so he's got to be good, right? He's got to be really good.
He looked pretty good, actually, when we saw. But
he's got to be he's starting for USC.
Solomon Byrd came in from Wyoming, and he's in the NFL now.
This isn't starting for Weber State. This is a guy starting for USC. He's got to be, a potential pro, right?
The guy came from Wyoming, Solomon Byrd. He's in the NFL now.
And how many games did this guy start at Wyoming? Must have been like 30, 50?
Like 15, something like that.
7?
Yes. LSU tried to address defensive tackle. Like Miami got dudes. Like Oregon got dudes. LSU couldn't. USC couldn't. There's a lot of similarities, both replacing Heisman Trophy quarterbacks. But if this was USC favored by 4.5, I'd take LSU. I'm going to take the points here and go with USC.
Tremendous.
Even though I picked them to lose the game, but I feel like
that was painless. It was just 18 games that we had to preview.
And
it'll be 18
the most
we have
we've
to
ever
recap.
Have had to preview. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I might quit the show right before we have to recap all these games. They all might be wins too.
Yeah.
We got a super chat.
Ooh.
Yeah, West Texas Mike. Where's my? Oh crap! It's the other. Thanks.
He says, "I'm still laughing at Ashley."
Oh,
which is my Scarlett O'Hara impression from
Right.
Gone with the Wind.
He really wanted you to do the pot of gold one for Notre Dame too.
Oh, find me pot of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they join the Big Ten, then we'll have to make that one. Yeah. So, all right. That was good. That was a lot of games.
That was too many games.
So how many do we differ on? It looks
Dude,
like
I don't know.
I think only 2.
Only 2?
I think so. Yeah, you had Penn State. I had West Virginia. I had Florida Atlantic. You had Michigan State.
Huh.
Maybe I think that was it.
No, we had 3. Because we also differed on UCLA Hawaii.
Oh, UCLA Hawaii. Okay.
We're always forgetting about that pesky UCLA.
Yeah. This is great. Okay, so we got some questions. We actually caught a couple since we've started recording.
Oh, have we?
Oh, we have a voicemail. You want me to play that?
Oh, right. Questions.
Here we go.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hey, this is Richard from Vista, North San Diego County. I got just an observation. A lot has been made about not seeing the practices and the one practice you did get to see. But, all these drills are not against live competition. You can't glean a lot from them because they're going against bags. That's why I kind of don't listen to, analysis of practice when it comes to, hitting dummies. The real time to view them is when they're scrimmaging against, ones versus ones, twos versus twos, or ones versus twos. That's when you get a better feel, because some of these guys are super fast, and then you put pads on them and they're super slow. Or they're good tacklers in practice and they can't tackle in a game. So, your real observation and test is going to come through during the game. So all this other peripheral stuff really doesn't mean much. I mean, everybody looks good during drills. Anyway, just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that. Thank you, bye.
I think this is a USC fan that was specific, maybe calling the podcast of champions accidentally instead of
our
USC podcast.
It kind of applies to UCLA too, because I think we got similar access in fall or in August. Generally, when we're watching practices where we don't get a ton of team stuff, we're looking at physical evaluations more than anything.
Yeah,
you don't. First, I generally agree with the critique. I don't think you can analyze scheme all that well, even if you're watching a ton of team drills, because oftentimes they'll be working
they're working something specific.
They're working on something very specific, and they're drilling it into the ground. And okay, oh wow, they're going to be a really screen-heavy offense. No, they were just working on screens that day.
Yeah, or the defense was working on defending screens, so you had the offense.
Yeah,
it's and it's it wasn't even an offensive drill; it was more of a defense.
Unless you have the practice plan, unless you have the playbook, it's really, unless you have the playbook and the game plan, it's really hard to fully assess. You can see tendencies.
Yeah.
I can say with some confidence UCLA is going to run a lot of 12 personnel this year. They're going to have 2 tight ends on the field a lot. That's about the extent of it.
Yeah.
I know their offense is going to have some pro style elements. Great. But beyond that, you watch the games.
Yeah. That's the trend in college football now, right? They're getting more towards the pro style, get away from the spread stuff.
Yeah.
Don't have quarterbacks that are athletic and can run.
Yeah, totally.
That's
totally,
where they're going.
Yeah, everything is going more towards
12
under
personnel,
center, under center. Just hand it off. Fullbacks making a comeback.
UCLA's just ahead of the curve.
A lot of I formation.
Yeah, ahead of the curve. These
Yes,
Bruins are.
Yes. A lot of full house. I think they're breaking out the wishbone. Okay, what else we got?
I think the first one is from Steve.
When in a move? No, that one. Northwestern.
Yeah.
Even after what some would consider a wonderful explanation, I still do not know in what, quote, direction Northwestern is going. And if you say it with a Barcelona accent, it could sound a lot classier. Northwestern. All the same, Northwestern stole the color purple from Washington and took the W as well, but had to chop off its left upright to make the W into an N. And now they claim that Washington is the Northwestern of the Northwest. Wait, what? And since, according to the Zodiac Killer, Northwestern is the Stanford of the Big Ten, we know their football team will not be any good. I look forward to the game on September 21st when the Huskies teach the Wildcats a lesson. Oxnard Steve. And P.S., did I actually hear David say Woodward Academy? Even when he's serious, he's hilarious. Woodward. W-A-R-D.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you for the email.
That's it. Yeah, very nice. That'll be a purple battle.
A battle of the perps.
Yeah, we have some similar color battles, I think, in this new expanded Big Ten. So that'll be the purple one will be fun. We could do a thing too. Okay, you get 3 games, and if you lose 2 out of 3, you have to change your colors. You don't get the purple.
That could work too.
There's only one purple. There's only the one purple.
There's not that many colors though. I guess there are shades.
You could be monotone.
We need more grays. being gray.
You could be like, it's like the Wizard of Oz, and like you're either you get Kansas, you get that sepia or whatever the hell that color was, right?
We need some Technicolor.
Yeah, you want to be on the yellow brick road and all that.
Yeah.
Frank in Sacramento. Truly dreadful coverage.
Is this supposed to be a 5-star review?
It should be. I don't know why it's not. Well, the Irish people saw why college football is so terrible. 10 minutes of commercials in the last 2 minutes of play during the Georgia Tech versus Florida State game in Dublin. That is a sin. And Joe Tessitore screaming his head off for ESPN at the end added nothing. David Woods is right. College football has sold out even more to TV if that's possible.
It's only going to continue, Frank.
I love Frank's questions that never have a question mark.
There's never a question. Never has been, never will be. Crispy Bruin, UCLA preview.
Yes.
Hey, guys, quick note for your preview show since you haven't had a UCLA expert on. UCLA is going 9-3 with potential for 11-1. Only guaranteed loss is to Penn State. Big Ten quarterbacks suck. Garbers is top 5 in the league. And a high-powered UCLA passing attack carries them against the plodding Big Ten chaff. UCLA's defense need not apply. No one is ready for the Bruins. Keep it weird, Crispy Bruin.
Wow.
So I think I'm gonna. It's a little opaque. I think he is sending up the other people who've been previewing for various teams. Like I think he's providing like this is the Homer perspective on UCLA.
Okay.
Like this is what you should be hearing from a UCLA 247 expert. I think that's what's going on here.
Love it.
I don't think I would be shocked if there's any UCLA fan who genuinely believes the Bruins are going better than 9-3.
He said 11-1. Well, it's a potential, right?
Potential for 11-1.
Sure. There's a lot of potential. You got to win a bunch of games.
I'd be stunned.
I would be stunned too. We'll see.
No, I'd be stunned if anyone is picking that.
Yes, I would also be stunned for that. I think our last email is Uncle Dave. Ryan is looking brat today and, quote, the curse of Pearl Harbor, football forgotten ghost story between the state of Oregon and the state of Idaho. Okay. Hi, Bratty, Rai, and David. I wanted to share an interesting and somewhat eerie historical streak as the season kicks off. Oregon schools have historically struggled when facing multiple teams from Idaho in the same year. This trend dates back to 1941, the first matchup of an Oregon school versus 2 Idaho schools in the same season. That year, the Willamette Bearcats?
They'll fight you. Willamette.
Willamette. Yeah, I forget. I always say that wrong. The
Yeah,
Willamette.
no, you don't. They do, but they get angry about it.
Oh, so
Yeah.
this is like big game versus the big game.
Yeah.
Okay. The Willamette Bearcats. I need to know that one too because they have some good wines from that area. So you get like a Pinot Noir. I don't want to say Willamette. It's Willamette, dumbass. Okay, but anyway, get the Pinot Noirs from there. They're very good. Went 8-2, while 1-1 against Idaho and the College of Idaho. The one other loss was from Bearcats playing in Hawaii the day before the Pearl Harbor attack, giving rise to what's known as Willamette Valley's Curse of Pearl Harbor.
That's our second Pearl Harbor reference today.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I think he was listening and then wrote in.
Oh, right. This is only 11 minutes ago.
Because he said I look bratty today. This is a green shirt. I don't know. Like I try to buy a lot of different colors in my 247 gear. This is like a lime green one. Since then, Oregon teams, all of which reside in Willamette Valley, have been apparently inflicted with the curse, having combined for a record of just 5-22 in matchup against multiple Idaho teams. Notably, the Ducks have really made this curse their own by never beating Boise State, even when they don't play another team from Idaho. With Oregon set to play both Boise State and the University of Idaho this season, it raises an intriguing question. Can the Ducks overcome history and have a historic season, or will these streaks and the curse continue? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this. Best regards, Uncle Dave. Did we pick? There was no line, right? Yeah. We still would have picked them.
They're definitely beating Idaho. The Boise State series is always an interesting question.
Yeah, that could make me take the points.
Who can forget LeGarrette Blount punching out that Boise State fan? Is that what it was?
No, it was a player.
It was a player?
Yeah.
Well, I guess I could forget part of it. And Chip Kelly famously had to write a check to a fan who came to that game from Oregon.
He didn't have to. He just did.
Yeah, whatever.
Someone wrote him. And so.
And I wonder how many UCLA fans, having heard that story, wrote letters to Chip Kelly requesting refunds for years and years and years of losses.
Have we heard any Like,
I don't know, but I'm just wondering how many. If you did, please let us know. I have no thoughts on this. None. I think they're going to beat both of the teams from Idaho.
yeah.
But it is an interesting little data point.
Yeah, I could take Boise State and the points, maybe, just knowing that they've struggled with Idaho teams. But I don't know. We'll see. I saw a funny tweet from Ben Stevens. The Knot, which is like a wedding website thing, reports that Saturday, October 12th, is one of the 5 most popular wedding dates for 2024. Guess what happens on October 12th? Ohio State's at Oregon, Texas at Oklahoma, Ole Miss, LSU, Penn State, USC, all in that weekend. I think there'll be some canceled weddings, David.
Yes, I would agree.
That's a lot. That's a pretty fun one. It was like the one in Nashville. Nashville's really famous for the bachelorette parties, and they got the bikes that ride through, the pubs on wheels, and all that stuff. And there was some woman that was just crying because it was the draft, and the draft just took over Broadway. And she thought it would just be fun girls, and then she was so pissed that it was all dudes that were there. And she was crying. It was pretty funny.
That's beautiful.
It's the NFL draft's going on here. You're not going to be able to ride your little pub scooter around and talk about girl stuff. Sorry, it's a boy weekend there.
You know what we didn't do?
What?
Any power rankings?
Oh my God, we got to do that too.
Let's start that next week.
Yeah, let's start after week one.
We're going to do Big Ten power rankings at the top of the show next week when we're recapping the games, I think. Do we do that recapping or do we do that previewing?
I don't know. You got to remember stuff.
We do them recapping.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then at the end of the show, as an homage, which we promised to do, we will power rank the former Pac-12.
We'll do that for fun. Okay.
Yes.
We love doing that.
The show next
so
week.
when we do the recaps, and now it's going to be really tough with 18 freaking games to recap. We'll do we would do
in reverse order from the
number
bottom.
18.
Yeah.
Colorado Buffaloes.
Because they lost to North Dakota State or something. So we go in reverse order and we recap the games. We're not going to be able to recap in depth with 18.
Why don't you think so?
Because there's 18. And then we got to preview.
You don't think so?
What do we? Hold on. Okay, week 1.
I think our show next week is going to last about 3.5 hours.
18 games week 1. We have 16 games week 2. So we'd have to recap 18 and preview.
When do you want to
16.
record? Monday? Are you back on Monday?
I'm driving back Monday, so that might be tough.
Okay.
I could later in the day.
Maybe we try to do Monday and then do a preview show?
Okay.
Like Thursday? Something like that?
Sure.
All right. Magical.
Well, I think it's going to wrap it up.
I think it will. I think it's wrapped.
Could you imagine if we did the Wisconsin preview too?
Yeah, this is what I was talking about last week when you didn't do your end of the deal.
Yeah, well, we did have time last week. I was on a schedule.
You were on a schedule?
I was on a schedule, yeah. I had to go to Montana, man. All right. Vacation. And I'm going to Vegas. It's not my second home. I'm going for work, people. It's a work thing. I'm going to Vegas. Yes. Will I gamble? Sure. Will I drink? Yes. But it's going to be a work thing.
But will he expense it? Most likely.
Yeah. You know who expenses it? It's expensive to me. I'm the boss, so I'm the one that pays for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still write it off on your taxes, no?
They can get a write-off, yeah, but
come on.
it's not expensing it.
I mean,
expensing is someone pays me back. No, I just pay for it.
Right. So what percentage on the dollar are you actually ended up spending? That's the real question.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to ask my accountant that. All right.
Is your accountant also you?
No.
No,
I have an
wow.
accountant.
Wow, look at you.
You don't do that?
No, I do it all myself.
Oh my God. No, it just with the business, it just becomes more complicated. I mean, I have to do 1099s for my workers and stuff, So there's a lot of stuff.
Do you call them that? You call them your workers?
I call them. They call me boss man.
Do you make them call you that?
No, that was just. I think Keeley might have started that. They're like, "Hey, boss man." I'm like, okay.
Do you make them call you sir?
No, they didn't call me Ryan, but they just call me boss man. So
what are the grounds for firing them? Under what circumstances?
I like firing people, so whatever. If I could, bored. No. I have fired some people over the years because
you have fired many illustrious members of the LA media.
I always joke that I fired Dan Wyke, but he left. I didn't fire him, but I got on him a lot.
You thought about firing him?
Oh yeah, many times. No, he's a good friend. LA Times Laker beat reporter.
Right.
He travels all over the world covering the Lakers and stuff. But yeah, I always joke that I fired him. But he's a good dude. He had a lot of typos. I would always talk about that. He's a Big Ten guy. He went to Michigan State.
Are you a typo guy? You get upset about typos?
I mean, it was just it was just too many. Like I'll get them, but like you proofread yourself. Some people can't proofread themselves. I don't think he was very good at proofreading himself. He needs to be at a newspaper where someone's going to do it too.
I don't proofread myself, but I'm just perfect on first draft.
I think you're good at that. Like I need to proofread. Like I think in my head it's good, and then I read it back. I'm like, oh, that's not very good.
You can't agree with that. You're supposed to say, yeah, shut the fuck up. Like you're not supposed to agree with.
That's you're not good at a lot of stuff, but you're good at the written word.
I mean, I guess that's true.
Right, but I mean, you suck at a lot of things. Like
most things.
Yes. But
like putting in the picks for the show.
But I would put my money on your historical knowledge and your knowledge of the English language.
It's not really knowledge of the English language. It's whether your finger slips when you're typing. You know?
Right. Well, you did have a bunch of typos in the thing, but you were typing up all of the games, 18 games in the last 30 seconds before we went live because you didn't do it before.
I'm a pretty fast typer.
Yes.
How are you as a typist?
I'm pretty good, but I'm kind of a stickler for I need things to look the same. So when you didn't capitalize August a couple times, or when you write Big Ten all in caps once and then capital B-I-G, I needed all to look the same. So I had to go fix all of that stuff.
Wow.
Yes.
Has that been debilitating for you in life?
No, but that's just like my engineering brain. Like I need things to be in order. Like I don't have unread emails in my box. You leave the spam ones.
Have you ever
unread.
been treated for OCD?
I probably could have. I don't know, but
wow.
I mean, it's like functional OCD. I can still get around.
I mean, most people can.
Yeah.
Right.
But I like things a certain way. I like it to be in order.
Right. And that hasn't been a problem for you at any point in your life?
Maybe. I don't know. But
you dictate the way things got to be?
No, if it's people on my staff, they can do things,
Is this why people have been fired?
If they don't
I'm writing an expose.
They don't follow my rules. No, I'm just kidding. Dude, I'm an engineer that's doing this. I never was trained in journalism. I just have to figure this shit out. And I go, as an engineer, you go to school, you just think everyone else is an idiot because they don't have to take as many classes as you, and their classes are way easier. So you never respect anyone else, like a history major.
So it's so interesting. It's so interesting that you think that because I think, oh, wow, you guys decided to go to college and work hard. You must be stupid.
Right. There is that.
Right.
But yes.
I went to college and I'm like, where do the football players go to school? What classes do they take? Let me get in on those ones.
True.
Yeah.
But we probably couldn't plop you into an ASIC design center and have you
I could probably figure it out. Give me a couple hours.
Sure.
Yeah.
You could do that.
I could figure it out. I think I could be a doctor if you gave me a month, to really, learn a few things. Not a lot of things, but a few things.
No way. There's so many terms. There's so many things. I would say.
I love how the first thing you go to is there's so many terms.
There's so many things you got to memorize.
The main problem with me taking a month to become a doctor is the terms.
You just have to memorize a lot of stuff.
I would say it's the, knowing how anything in the body works whatsoever.
Well, yeah, there's terms for all of it.
There's so many terms. You just got to memorize so many terms.
So many things you need to figure out there.
I could be a surgeon though. That's just cutting, right?
It's been so. I quit my engineering job 20 years ago, 2004. I've thought about this sometimes. If you threw me back, could I, study for a month and work for some tech company again? I don't know, maybe, but I feel like my brain has atrophied from 20 years of not using it like that.
Yeah, there was a time. So my buddy was studying for the MCAT. And there was an English component. I don't know if there is anymore, but there was an English component. And he was like, I want to see if you can score over whatever it was. I think that it's at a 45. And I think he was like, I want to see if you can score over a 30. And we spent a while trying to decide to do it. And then I was like, it costs way too much money and I'm not going to do it.
I bet you would have scored high.
It would have been sweet to do it too. Because I'm really good at the standardized test.
Yes. No, that's yeah.
That is 100% my skill.
Yeah.
If only that,
It is a skill.
if only that I could somehow parlay into anything whatsoever.
No, you can you've
take tests for people. I can commit fraud. Yeah,
no,
that's true.
But you've tutored them, right? You could tutor people.
I did that, but that's such a fake job. like tutoring people in these standardized tests.
You're super good. Like if you're good at Spanish, you can teach people.
No. 100% the opposite. If you're really good at something and you didn't have to learn how to do it, you know what you can't do?
Oh,
teach anyone else how to do it.
That does happen in like sports and stuff, like, coaching beach volleyball on the beach, and there's oh, this guy was in the Olympics, and then he's horrible at coaching because he's just like
trying to teach people how to do logic games, and I'm like, oh, but then this works like this because of that, and they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't know, because I can't explain it to you because your brain doesn't work like that. Like I'm holding like the graph in my head while you're having to write this shit down. I don't know. I can't explain it to you.
Yeah. Well, we're off the rails.
That's good.
It's good stuff.
Don't take the LSAT, kids. Don't go to law school.
No. Okay, so we will be back next week. We'll figure it out. I'll try to get on the road early. Maybe we can do a Monday show. But next week's a little weird for me because I have a Sunday game, so I have to work like Sunday night. And
I'm flying back on Sunday as well.
Okay, so we'll try to do something Monday. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. This is the first time previewing all the Big Ten games, so it was a lot of fun. It was a lot. There was a lot. There was a lot all around.
But no sound effects because Ryan's a hater.
Yeah. Someone's got to help us with sound effects. We had someone step up last time. I was offering
to help, and he wasn't accepting it.
No. Someone competent needs to help.
This is sad.
Yes.
It's the end of an era.
For David Woods, I'm Ryan Abraham. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we will talk to you next time.
Oh, Ashley.